All right, first grade, let's do the rest of those tall line letter capitals that we were working on. So the next one we're going to write is capital H. Capital H is a tall line letter, just like our lowercase, but we form it differently. And the letter name is H. So to write my capital H, just watch first. I'm going to start at the top baseline and pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift. Then I'm going to go a space away from what I just wrote and pull another straight line down to the baseline and lift my pencil. Then I'm going to touch where my first line stroke met the dotted line and make a dash stroke to connect those two on the dotted line. All right, so watch that one more time. So I'm going to start at the top baseline and pull a straight line down, then go over it, move over a space, and touch the top baseline, pull another straight line down. Then I'm going to touch where the dotted line meets the starting spot, or where the dotted line meets my first line stroke, and make a dash stroke that goes to touch my other line stroke. So this is my capital H. All right, class, it's your turn now. So find the starting spot, pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift your pencil. Move a space away from where you started on the top baseline and pull another straight line down to the baseline. Now touch where your first line meets the dotted line and make a dash stroke to touch the other line stroke. All right, let's do another one. So starting at the top baseline, pull a straight line down to the baseline, pick up your pencil, go a space away from where you started at the top baseline, and pull a straight line down to the baseline, lift your pencil. Now go to where your first line stroke meets the dotted line and make a dash stroke on the dotted line that touches the second line stroke. All right, class, what did you just write? Good, capital H. All right, write one more and make it beautiful. All right, our next capital that we're going to learn is capital I-E. So capital I-E is a line letter just like our lowercase I-E, but we form it differently. And the letter name is I. So I'm going to touch the baseline, but I go over half a space from the margin. So I'm going to go over a little bit, touch the top baseline, and pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift my pencil. Then I'm going to touch the top baseline a half space before the starting spot and make a dash stroke that goes, let's see, oh my. All right, so we start a half a space away from our starting spot, but we make it the whole width of a clock space so that this is right at the halfway point. All right, then we touch the baseline half a space before where we ended our line stroke, and we're going to make a dash stroke that is the width of a clock stroke again there. All right, so let's watch one more time. So I'm gonna go from the margin or my last letter, I'm gonna go over half a space and touch the top baseline. Then I pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift. Then I go a half clock space from the starting spot and make a dash stroke to touch the starting spot, then finish it up so it's the length of a whole, or the width of a whole dash stroke. Now I touch half a space away from where I ended my line stroke, make a dash stroke that touches where I ended, and continues on for the other half. So that is our capital I-E. All right, class, now it's your turn. So Go a half space from the margin or your last letter. Start at the top baseline, pull a straight line down to the baseline, and lift your pencil. Then touch the top baseline a half space before the starting spot and make a dash stroke the width of a space. And then touch the baseline half a space before where you ended your line stroke and make a dash stroke that goes the width of a space. All right, what did you just write, class? Good, capital I-E. Excellent. All right, let's write another one. So from that letter, that last capital I-E, go over half a space, and your starting spot will be half a space over on the top baseline. All right, pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift your pencil. Go a half space from the starting spot and make a dash stroke the width of a clock space. Then on the baseline, go a half space from where you ended your line stroke and make a dash stroke the width of a space. What did you just write, class? Very good, capital I-E. All right, write one more, please, using your most beautiful writing. All right, our next one that we're going to write is capital J. So capital J is a line letter like lowercase j, and it looks similar, but we form it differently. The letter name is J. So to start to write it, I'm going to move over a space and touch the top baseline. Then I'm going to pull a line straight down, but just before the baseline, I'm going to, all right, let's start over. I'll just cross this out because we need to be thinking again of this clock that goes between the dotted line and the baseline. And we've got our 2 and our 4 there. All right, so I'll start again. To write my capital J, I need to go over a space. Touch the top baseline. Now I'm pulling a straight line down to the, but before I get to the baseline, I'm going to touch 4 on my clock. Then I'm going to curve down and touch the baseline, then curve back up to 8 and lift my pencil. And then I'm going to touch the top baseline a half space from where I started and make a dash stroke the width of a space. That is my capital J. All right, watch one more time. So I need to start over a space. So I've got room for this part. And at the top baseline, so I pull a line straight down, but before I get to the baseline at 4 on the clock, I'm going to curve down and touch the baseline, curve up to 8 and lift my pencil. Then I'm going to go to the top baseline a half space away from where I started and make a dash stroke. All right, that is my capital J. All right, now it's your turn. All right, so go over a space from your last letter on the top baseline. Pull a line straight down. Just before the baseline, you're going to touch 4 on the clock. Curve down to touch the baseline and curve up to 8 and lift. Then touch the top baseline half a space before the starting spot and make a dash stroke to half a space after the starting spot. Class, what did you just write? Very good, capital J. All right, let's write another one. Go over a space on the top baseline. All right, pull a straight line down to just above the baseline. Touch 4, curve down, touch the dotted line, the baseline, curve up, touch 8, and lift your pencil. Go a half space from your starting spot at the top baseline and make a dash stroke and continue it until you've gone a half space away from your starting spot. Class, what is that? Very good, capital J. All right, let's write it one more time. Make it beautiful, capital J. All right, class, we just have one last capital letter to learn today, and that is capital K. Our capital K is a tall line letter like lowercase k, and it looks similar, but we form it differently. And the letter name is K. So I'm going to make my capital K, I touch the top baseline and pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift my pencil. All right, I'm going to touch the top baseline over a space. I'm going to pull a backward slant to touch the line stroke at the dotted line. And without lifting my pencil, I'm going to pull a forward slant down to touch the baseline. And it should be a whole space over from this. All right, so let's watch capital K one more time. Start at the top baseline and pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift my pencil. I go over a space from my starting spot. I pull a backward slant in to touch the line stroke at the dotted line. And then I push a forward slant out to touch the baseline. And that is, oh, and I don't lift my pencil when I do that. And that is my capital K. All right, class, it's your turn. Find your starting spot. So it's at the top baseline. All right, pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift your pencil. Touch the top baseline over a space. Pull a backward slant to touch the line stroke at the dotted line. And without lifting your pencil, pull a forward slant, a full space to the baseline. All right, what did you just write? Very good, capital K. All right, we'll do another one. Find your starting spot. Where is it? Very good, at the top baseline, and pull a straight line down to the baseline and lift your pencil. Go a space on over from your starting spot on the top baseline. Pull a backward slant to touch the line stroke at the dotted line, and without lifting your pencil, pull a forward slant, a full space. So make it slant a full space to the baseline. All right, very good, class. Write one more and capital K and make it beautiful. All right, we've got a little bit of time left to review our other two phonograms from this morning. So the first one I would like you to write is O, the O of toe. Class, what are you going to write? Very good. O, the O of toe. So write it and say it while you write it. All right, so I'll leave a clock space. This is my O, the O of toe. All right, so since we have time, let's write that 2 more times, saying it while you write it. What will you say while you're writing it? Very good. O, the O of toe. So write it 2 more times and say it while you write it. All right, class. Our next phonogram is O, the O of boat. What are you going to write? Excellent. O, the O of boat. So write it and say it while you write it. All right, class, this is our O, the O of boat. So if you didn't have that, write it in, saying it while you write it. All right, and I want you to write it 2 more times, saying it while you write it, so it gets in your head. All right, we've got time for one more. Class, write K, 2-letter K, used only after a single vowel that says a, I, or a. Class, what are you going to write? Great. Write it and say it while you write it. All right, class, this is our k, two-letter k, used only after a single vowel that says a, or a. So go ahead and write that one 2 more times and say it while you write it. I'll say it with you this last time. K, two-letter k, used only after a single vowel that says a, or a. All right, great job, first grade.